We'll pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the second game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Dodgers, right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and for the Padres, an opener, left-hander Kyle Hart. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40 p.m. as the Padres go for a fifth consecutive win. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. I go one-on-one with Padres third baseman Manny Machado. We have our keys to the game coming up in just a little bit, and in just a few minutes, we check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. from inside the Padres radio booth. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products. Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 43-37. They've won 4 in a row. The Padres have outscored the Braves and the Dodgers 20-9 in this 4-game stretch. The Padres looking to win 5 straight games for the first time since their season best 8-game win streak in April. Padres entered today tied for the National League's second wild card spot. Meanwhile, LA enters 52-30. They entered this series coming off a 3-game sweep in Minnesota. This is the second of 7 games that the Padres and Dodgers will play against one another through the end of next week. Well, we had the series opener here last night in downtown San Diego. Quite the ball game. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup last night, the former Dodger Walker Buehler against the guy who could have been a Padre, Roki Sasaki. A scoreless game going to the top of the second. Mookie Betts led off for L.A.
Buehler's first pitch to him is hit in the air, deep to left field. Samad Taylor goes back. He's at the wall, leaps up, and tried to make the catch, but could not. Just over the fence, and a home run for the Red Hot Betts. It is 300th career home run on Wednesday in Minneapolis, and now number 301 here in the second inning tonight. The Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
That's all Buehler allowed in the second. Sasaki got himself in major trouble in the bottom half of the second. There were 2 on base for Ty France.
Sheets and Machado take their leads. The 0-2. Ty swings, hits it in the air, left field and deep. Edman is back. He's going to watch this one. Going to go! Ty France, a 3-run homer. He puts an 0-2 pitch over the left field wall. And for the second consecutive game, exit stage left for Ty France, and the Padres lead it 3-1.
Buehler kept the 3-1 lead intact. In the 6th inning, the Dodgers loaded the bases against Yuki Matsui. He got 2 big outs to end the inning, keep the Padres ahead. After Jason Adam pitched the scoreless 7th inning, Adrian Morejon allowed the tying runs to reach base in the 8th. It was Mookie Betts at the dish.
0-1 from Morejon. Betts swings, hits it on the ground, right up the middle to Song. He'll take it to the bag one, on to first in time. And again, Mookie Betts has grounded into a double play. This one will end the 8th.
Padres got insurance in the bottom half of that 8th inning. There were 2 in scoring position for Sung Moon Song.
1-1. Song grounds it slowly up the middle. That'll roll into center field and a base hit. Bonus scored. Here comes Bogarts. The throw goes to third. France is out there, but behind the play, Song into second base, and the Padres have finally added on. It's 5-1.
Rodolfo Duran hit an RBI single. Fernando Tatis Jr. did the same. A 4-run bottom half of the 8th inning. That made it 7-1, and the Padres would go on to win by that final score. Importantly, the Padres not having to use Mason Miller in a save situation, so those insurance runs were very, very big, and the Padres winning a 4th in a row. And now they go for a 5th straight win here today as they take on the LA Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 5:40. As we get ready for this one, let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Tony, let's begin with the pitching situation today for the Padres. We found out earlier that Kyle Hart would open today's game for San Diego. Randy Vasquez will follow and take the bulk innings. Padres have utilized this strategy quite a few times the last few weeks. What do you think went into the decision today to start Kyle Hart and have Randy come in a little bit later?
My guess is a combination of a couple things. I think Randy hasn't necessarily been at his best here in his recent starts. And you're dealing with a very potent at top of the lineup in the Dodgers. And so given that the Padres have had success with the opener from the standpoint of getting through that first inning clean, it makes some sense for the Padres to go about it this way. I think it'd be a different story if Randy had been throwing the ball as well as we've seen him early. I don't think the Padres feel it's necessary if that's the case. But given that he hasn't necessarily been at his best, it kind of makes some sense.
Tony, let's focus on the Randy Vasquez part of this for a second, because that was a really tough outing for Randy in Texas last weekend. I honestly, and I know, Randy's not always perfect, but I don't recall Randy necessarily having an outing quite like that in a while. What did you see from Randy that last time out, and what does he need to do better here today against this Dodger lineup?
I think what you saw from Randy was the extreme of what you've seen over the last, 5 starts from Randy. Yeah. Really couldn't command it, particularly in the zone. Like, it's one thing to miss outside of the zone and walk guys, but at the big league level, if you're missing in the zone and you're not locating the ball, it's going to get hit. And Randy's not overpowering to begin with. And so I think we saw the extreme of some of the troubles that he's had the previous 5 starts. And so, the idea with the openers is probably to get him off to a good start, get him a softer landing, because I don't know that there's any soft landings in this lineup for the Dodgers, but a softer landing and see if that can maybe help spur him getting back on track.
Right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers today in the midst of another really good season. Comes in at 2.65 ERA and 14 starts. The Padres now, over the course of the last few years, they have seen him quite a bit, Tony. Generally, what are the keys offensively against a guy like Yamamoto?
I mean, he's got such good ride on his fastball down in the zone, and he combos that with that split. And, that's not even to get away from the other secondary pitches he has, which are tremendous. But when he's riding that fastball bottom of the zone and then throwing the split off of it, it can be difficult. And I think that's kind of where he settled. To me, watching Yamamoto is really like watching an artist. He is very fine with his location. Very rarely is he catching a ton of plate. And so for the Padres, I think it's imperative that they're on the heater because I think if you get him, not trusting his fastball or at least showing him that you can get to it, I think it changes the way he pitches and it makes him less effective. So I'd like to see the Padres get on the heater and get on the heater early.
Tony, just to go back to something we saw last night when Yuki Matsui came in the 6th inning to face the lefties in the top of that Dodger lineup. I asked Craig Stammen a version of this question a little bit earlier, and I'll pose the same question to you. It feels like last night, the ability for the Padres to go get another lefty and then save Adrian Morejon for later in the game, essentially giving them a couple of different lefty options against this top of the lineup in particular. To me, Tony, it felt significant last night. Do you agree that could be a really big deal if they go like a Yuki Matsui into that quote-unquote high-leverage group against this lineup in particular?
Him or Wandy, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a place the Padres have been in the last couple of years. Yes, those same guys have been on the roster, but I don't know that they have thrown the ball well enough to garner the chance to pitch in a high-leverage situation. They've usually had to go to Morejon in that position, but Yuki's thrown the ball well enough this season where I think Stam trusts him. And I think Wandy's kind of working his way as an option as well. I know we used him as a starter, but you look at his numbers, he's been tremendous, really outside of the first month or two of the season. So I like where the Padres are at. Now, listen, it's June 27th. They got to maintain that type of ability throughout the season, but it definitely was a game changer facing this particular team last night. Having a guy like in last night's case, it was Yuki, but I think that could have very well have been Wandy in another situation.
Yeah, and I caught myself last night because on one hand, it's late June and you're getting really into, okay, what kind of optionality out of your bullpen as far as lefties do you have for this lineup? However, then I thought about it a little bit more and I said to myself, well, you know what? Just in the short term, you are facing this team 7 times in 10 days. So it really could play a factor over the course of the next week and a half. Tony, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 5:30 as the Padres go for a 5th consecutive win. Thanks so much.
No problem, Sam. Take care.
All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for this one. The Padres going for a win in the middle game of this 3-game set against LA. Remember, the Padres finish up this series tomorrow. Then they are on the road, 3 games in Chicago against the Cubs, 4 games in LA at Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers through next weekend. And then the Padres come back home for a 4-game series against Arizona, 3 games against the Blue Jays, and then we hit the All-Star break. Padres last night began a 17-game in 17-day stretch, leading them up until the All-Star break. So a very important stretch of baseball. The Padres playing well as they come in to this ball game here today. 6 games above 500 at 43-37. When we come back, we'll take our first look at the Padre lineup here today. We'll give you a little update on Ty France, who got hit by a pitch last night. We'll also hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. First pitch coming up at 5:40 right here on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening to the
On your mark, ready, set, let's go.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 5:40, the middle game of this three-game series. Padres going for a fifth consecutive win. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. Let's take a look at the Padres lineup here today. Looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Samad Taylor batting second, playing left field. Jackson Merrill in center, batting third. Manny Machado at third base, batting cleanup. Gavin Sheets at first base, batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, batting sixth. Miguel Andujar, the DH, batting seventh. Will Wagner at second base, batting eighth. And Freddie Fermin is doing the catching and batting ninth. Left-hander Kyle Hart will open today's game for the Padres, with Randy Vasquez, the right-hander, scheduled to get bulk innings after Hart. And meanwhile, on the mound for LA, right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto. As we get ready for this one, let's go downstairs and hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Got Kyle Hart opening the game today. What makes him the right guy for that, and what went into that decision?
Yeah, just looking for a lefty to get us started, and then hand the ball off to Randy with a good start and let him kind of take the game from there.
At the conclusion of today's game, you guys will officially be at the halfway mark of the season. How would you assess where the team is at in comparison to what your expectations will be from this point?
I think the team's in a great spot. We're starting to play a little bit better here. We've handled some tough times in May, handled some struggles on the hitting side, handled some struggles on the starting pitching side, and we're bouncing back and fighting through it and, going for the second half.
What gives you confidence that the best baseball potentially for this team could be ahead in the second half of the season?
Biggest confidence is we've got good players, and they've shown a track record of being great players for an entire season. We've got an organization that supports the team very well. We got a GM that wants to be aggressive. We got a coaching staff that's hungry and excited to finish out the season strong. So I think all things are important, to a successful second half.
We talked to Ty France earlier today in the clubhouse, and he seems to be okay. The x-rays were negative. What is the value of having him back and available after a scary moment last year?
Yeah, huge. You just never want to see one of your guys go down like that and be in that much pain. Gladly that the x-rays were negative, and, we don't have to worry about him going on the IL, but we can, give him a couple days hopefully and then get him back out there. But available off the bench tonight, to see what he can do, but try to give him a little breather, let that hand heal up, and get him back in there.
Going back to something we saw last night, Yuki Matsui brought him in a high leverage situation. What made him the right guy for that moment?
I think, we don't have Bradley right now. We don't have Jeremiah Estrada, both, not with us. And Yuki's been pitching really well this year. He's earned the right to pitch in those types of spots. We've sprinkled him in some close games, down one, tie games, and last night wasn't the first time he's ever pitched leverage. He's got like 200 and some saves in Japan. So felt like the matchups were good for him in that moment. And we had Adrian, saved for those same hitters later in the game. He came in, did his job, did great.
I know you want to get the lefty-lefty matchups, but going with Kyle as the opener today, did that have anything to do with Randy's recent struggles?
No, not really. I think it's just something that, one, we want to try out and see how it looks. The Dodgers are a good team to try that out against with all the lefties that they have in the lineup. And, it's just information for us to gather as we go throughout the year and see what works best for us and how to handle our pitching staff to make it the best that it can be.
You mentioned the lefties in the Dodgers lineup last night, having the ability to go to Yuki early instead of, let's say, like a Morahone even that early in the game when you're facing a team 7 times in 10 days. Is that kind of a nice luxury to have another lefty you could go to for that top of the order?
Yeah, I think you're right. We play this team, all the teams in our division a lot, and it's nice to be able to use different relievers and different pitchers against different parts of the lineup. That's the beauty of our bullpen, the beauty of our pitching staff is that we feel good about all of them in any situation, and we can pitch them against different hitters and keep the hitters guessing and not, feel very comfortable facing the same guys over and over and over again.
Jake Cronenworth last night to be able to, he doubled and he homered in his first rehab game back. What does that do for you guys just looking forward? And what does that do maybe in terms of his timeline and what your guys are thinking moving forward?
Yeah, I told Jake if he's that hot already, he should have came back sooner. But no, he's excited. I talked to him today. Very excited about him feeling normal playing a baseball game again. And, we should hopefully get him back, pretty soon. He's going to, go on his rehab. Yesterday was a good sign, but we got to see him play a few more days in a row, play different positions, and, then get him back here, with us and help us out.
How anxious is he to get back after he's been away this long?
Yeah, he's, as any player would be, very anxious. And we miss him. We've missed him. We missed his professional bats, his leadership on the field, and just the way he does everything about exactly the way we expect it. So it'll be good to get Jake back when we can get him back.
Herman and Matt Waldron making starts in El Paso. Is there anything new in terms of when they might be back or could potentially be back?
Yeah, no timeline on when they'll be back. They're still working on their game in El Paso, getting back all the way healthy. And, whenever they're ready, we'll bring them back.
Anything new on Estrada or Campusano?
Yeah, same thing. They're, still doing the rehab process, going, checking off all the boxes, going through the final steps. They're all progressing well. Nobody's had any setbacks. They're, all getting closer to being back with us.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Let's quickly pause for station identification on the Padres radio network.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Ramon Laureano from the San Diego Padres. You're listening to Padres Baseball on the Padres radio network.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40. The middle game of this three-game series between the Padres and the LA Dodgers. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Let's begin with a look at the hot category. Fernando Tatis Jr. certainly in that category still in the midst of a 19-game on-base streak, batting .324 in that span with 8 doubles, 2 home runs, and 11 RBIs. Ty France, as you heard there from Craig Stammen, not going to be in the lineup here today, but the good news, x-rays were negative on his left wrist, so he's okay, should be available off the bench today. Ty, his last 2 games, 3 for 5 with 2 home runs, a double, and 5 RBIs. Francis 4 home runs and 10 RBIs in his last 7 games. In the not category, we take a look at a couple of left-handed hitters. Gavin Sheets just 2 for 14 in his last 6 games. Jackson Merrill just 1 for 15 in his last 4 games. We'll see if Sheets and Merrill can get it going here tonight. Merrill batting 3rd, Sheets batting 5th against right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for LA. And that is a quick look at who's hot, who's not. Now let's take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues as we take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
A few injury updates for you from around Major League Baseball. Royals left-hander Cole Reagans will undergo elbow surgery Wednesday. That'll determine the degree of repair needed. He's an important pitcher for the Royals. They don't quite know yet what the timetable will be for Reagans, but once they get in there, perform the surgery, then we'll see what the timetable is for Reagans moving forward. Cubs putting another pitcher on the IL. They keep on having pitching injuries. This time it's left-handed reliever Hobie Milner. He was put on the IL with appendicitis. He had been very good out of the Cubs bullpen this season, so he is on the IL again with appendicitis. For the Orioles, right-hander Chris Bassett underwent a bone spur removal in his back. He could rejoin the team later this season. And that is a quick look at some injuries from around the major leagues and a quick few updates for you as we take you around the horn. When we come back, I go one-on-one with Padres third baseman Manny Machado. We also have our keys to today's game and much, much more to come. First pitch coming up at 5:40 on a beautiful Saturday here in downtown San Diego. This is the Padres Radio Network.
Hello, friends. It's Woodsy here.
Saturday evening here in America's finest city, and we've got Padres baseball coming your way. Game 2 of this 3-game set between the Padres and the Dodgers. First pitch at 5:40 p.m. Left-hander Kyle Hart opening today's game for the Padres. Randy Vasquez scheduled to pick up the bulk innings after that. Right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for L.A. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. I go one-on-one with Padres third baseman Manny Machado in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. First, let's give you the update on the injuries for the Padres and the Dodgers entering the middle game of this 3-game series.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, we mentioned it yesterday. Both these teams are dealing with a lot of injuries right now. We heard this from Craig Stammen a little bit earlier, but Jake Cronenworth began his rehab assignment with AAA El Paso yesterday. And Jake had a really nice day, had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, including a home run. So a very nice start to the rehab assignment at AAA for Jake Cronenworth. So he appears to be on his way back. The Padres also with a number of guys on the IL right now. German Marquez on a rehab assignment at AAA. Same for Matt Waldron. Luis Camposano continuing his rehab process at the team complex in Arizona. Jeremiah Estrada still on the IL with right knee inflammation. Lucas Giolito, Joe Musgrove, Nick Pivetta all still on the IL. I will tell you, though, all 3 of those guys were doing some type of throwing earlier today in the outfield. Joe was throwing a little bit. I saw Nick throwing a little bit. I saw Giolito throwing a little bit. So that was good news there. Some good signs and nothing breaking news there from me, but I did see those guys at least throwing today. So some good news there. As far as the Dodgers, Will Smith is on the IL. Teoscar Hernandez is in the midst of a rehab assignment at AAA. Blake Treinen, Edwin Diaz, a couple of key relievers on the IL. And, of course, the Dodgers also right now without Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Kike Hernandez. So, again, both these teams dealing with a number of significant injuries. The latest real update we have for you, Jake Cronenworth, again, a successful day at the plate with a couple of hits, including a home run for AAA El Paso yesterday. And as we get updates on Jake, we will be sure to pass them along. Now let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on around the majors on this Saturday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a handful of finals already today. The Reds beat the Pirates 9-7 in Pittsburgh. White Sox over the Royals 2-1 in Kansas City, or I should say in Chicago, rather. Remember, the White Sox had 22 runs last night. Today, a bit of a different story. They win it by 2-1 over KC. Mets came back to beat the Phillies 6-2 in New York. Rangers beat the Blue Jays in Toronto 7-4. Astros over the Tigers 8-6 in Detroit. Red Sox beat the Yankees again at Fenway 4-1. We've got a number of games going on right now. Rays ahead of the Diamondbacks 4-1 in Tampa Bay in the 7th inning. Nationals and the Orioles tied at 1 in the 4th. The Guardians lead the Mariners 3-0 in Cleveland in the 4th inning. Cubs 2, Brewers 1 in Milwaukee in the 5th. The Rockies lead the Twins 2-1 in Minnesota in the 4th inning. And the Marlins ahead of the Cardinals 2-0 in St. Louis in the 3rd. We've got 2 games coming up yet to begin aside from this one. Braves and the Giants in San Francisco at 6:05. Logan Webb against Bryce Elder, the pitching matchup in San Francisco tonight. And finally, A's and the Angels up in Anaheim at 6:38. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. Well, Manny Machado back in the Padres lineup today, batting cleanup and playing third base. Manny has been much more productive as of late. You look at his last 8 games, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 4 doubles, 7 walks, 6 runs scored. And there was a stretch there for Manny during that sweep against the Braves where you looked at a span of 3 straight wins, and Manny had the game-winning hit in each of those 3 Padres wins. It's been a better last couple of weeks for Manny, no doubt about that. I caught up with Manny Machado earlier today inside the Padres dugout. Sam Levitt here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game against the LA Dodgers. Right now I'm joined by Padres third baseman Manny Machado. Manny, this team has won 4 games in a row. How do you generally feel about the way you guys are playing right now?
Playing well, we're getting back to the basics, playing the game that we need to be doing, small ball, and getting guys over, and ultimately driving in runs that we need to be driving in.
You mentioned getting back to the basics. Do you feel like when things were going not so well, like you guys got away from that at all?
Yeah, just trying to overdo, it's normal. We're all human beings at the end of the day, and we're just trying to overdo and be the hero every single night, and it kind of takes away from playing the baseball game. So just getting back to the game that we know how to play.
Looking at the top of the lineup, it seems like Samad Taylor has made a big difference. He's been so productive hitting behind Toddy. A young guy like that coming up, from your perspective, what stood out about Samad?
He's been huge, man. He's been a table setter for us. The bottom of the lineup, top of the lineup, wherever we put him, he comes out and does his job. Taking pitches, getting his walks, bunting guys over, getting big freaking hits for us like he has been. So he's kind of been doing everything for us, and it's been a nice little spark for us.
When you look at this stretch, it's a long run of games until the All-Star break, not a lot of off days. How important was it when you're facing the Braves and the Dodgers to get off to a good start when you're facing a stretch like this?
Yeah, I mean, just playing baseball, ultimately every you got to treat every team in the big leagues the same. And, at this point, we got to go out there and take care of our business. And, we've been doing that as late. So just control what we can control, which is playing our game as best as we can. And, hopefully the outcome is better than the other outcome that will be. So just keep doing our thing, keep playing our baseball game, and not really worry about the opponent.
Manny, when you look at the early part of this week, you had a stretch where you had the game-winning hit in 3 consecutive wins. For you right now, how do you feel at the plate?
I feel good, man. I feel good. I feel, consistent with my bats. So, hopefully continue that, and, If I could continue doing that, I think we're going to put myself in a good spot and not really try to overthink on things. So take it at bat by bat, pitch by pitch, and the results will be there.
We're joined by Padres third baseman Manny Machado. Seeing what Walker Buehler did last night against his former team, Walker's been so good the last month and a half. What's it been like for you to see a guy that you once, faced on the other side come over here, put on the brown and gold, and have this kind of impact?
It's been awesome. It's been awesome playing behind him. Obviously I played behind him briefly, so I've seen glimpses of how good he can be, and he's been doing that lately with us. I think he's been a very big anchor to our rotation there. Throwing key innings, throwing big games for us, and ultimately giving him some good run support to go out there and do his job. So it's good to have him on our team finally.
Finally, Manny, we saw it on full display last night. When this team has a lead and you can flip it over to that bullpen, it puts you in a great position to win. Those guys have been so good. Is that something you feel as an offense like, hey, if we can get these guys a lead, there's a pretty good chance they're going to get us home with a win?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't really talk about it, but we kind of know. We know the guys that we have. We just got to get to that point where, we're either one run away or one run ahead. We're in those situations. I think we have a pretty good chance of going out there and winning that game and handing it over to one of the best bullpens in the game. So, it's been lights out for us every time. Like a game yesterday, we're up by 2, and they come on, they hold that lead, and then we actually give us some breathing room to even not really throw Mason at the end there. So that helped us out big time.
Manny, appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
That was Padres third baseman Manny Machado earlier today inside the Padres dugout, and that was a big deal last night. Certainly the Padres not having to use Mason Miller, scoring the 4 runs in the bottom half of the 8th inning, went from a 3-1 lead to a 7-1 lead. And look, in a 17-game and 17-day stretch, those little things, they do matter. So we'll see if the Padres can put up some crooked numbers on the board here tonight against Yoshinobu Yamamoto and this Dodger pitching staff. Samad Taylor, you heard me ask Manny about him there. Samad batting second once again, playing left field for the Padres tonight. He has been so impactful towards the top of this Padre lineup. Taylor has now hit safely in 15 of his last 16 games, batting .373 in that span with 11 RBIs and 11 runs scored. How about this? Samad Taylor's .373 batting average since June 7th is the 3rd highest in the major league. So Samad has come up. He has been absolutely terrific, and we'll see what kind of impact Samad Taylor has on this ball game here tonight. First pitch coming up at 5:40. The Padres against the Dodgers in the middle game of this 3-game series. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
We take a look at our keys to today's game. Key number 1, the power of the pen. The Padres bullpen through 3 2/3 scoreless innings on Friday. Their bullpen leads the majors in expected ERA, FIP, fielding independent pitching, and they rank second in actual ERA at 3.08. As you know, the Padres bullpen has been terrific this season. Wandy Peralta has thrown 14 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. Adrian Morejon has thrown 11 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. This bullpen has been so good. It was again on full display last night. Can the Padres bullpen produce like that once again? That is key number 1. Key number 2. Don't let Mookie mash. Mookie Betts has homered in consecutive games. He's hitting .375 with 4 home runs over his last 12 games. He's raised his season batting average in that span by 50 points from 181 to 231. His OPS by 133 points in that span. So Mookie Betts hit the home run last night. Don't let Mookie mash. That is key number 2. Key number 3. Be fearless against Freddie. Freddie Freeman in the midst of an 11-game on-base streak. He's hitting .359 in that span with 3 home runs. And that's a quick look at our keys to today's game. Certainly the performance of the Padres pitching staff, a big key here tonight. Kyle Hart opening today's game. Randy Vasquez will follow. We'll talk more about that and much, much more when we come back. First pitch coming up at 5:40 from downtown San Diego, right here on the Padres Radio Network.
We'll be right back to the
Rocking and rolling on a Saturday evening here in downtown San Diego. Padres baseball coming your way as the Padres go for a 5th consecutive win. They take on the LA Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 5:40. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in under 8 minutes. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. We'll tell you what to watch for in a moment. We'll dive into today's starting pitching matchup as well. One note about today's game, the Padres obviously won last night's game 7-1, Padres' 4th straight win. The Dodgers have been very good this season, coming off a loss. The Padres, or rather the Dodgers, have won 20 of 29 following a loss this season. That's actually the best record in the majors after a loss this season. So not many times this year have the Dodgers lost 2 in a row. They typically find a way to right the ship pretty quickly. Can the Padres flip around that narrative here tonight? Let's tell you what to watch for. First pitch coming up at 5:40.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in the middle game of this series? What kind of impact can Miguel Andujar have tonight? DHing, batting 7th against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Andujar, remember, was on the IL for a little bit with that hamstring strain. Since coming off the IL, number 1, he hasn't played a lot, and number 2, he's not had a hit. 0 for 6 in 7 plate appearances for Andujar since coming off the IL. His playing time has not been a lot. That's in part because Mod Taylor has played so well and Ty France has played so well. So the right-handed at-bats really have not been there for Miguel Andujar. And again, since coming off the IL, he is 0 for 6. Can Miguel Andujar, who throughout the first month and a half of this season was so incredibly important to this Padres lineup, can he have an impact on tonight's game? That's what to watch for in this one. Let's dive into today's starting pitching matchup.
Let's break down how today's starters are shaping up with our starting pitching preview. Brought to you by Harrah's Resort Southern California and the First Down Sports Bar in Funner, California. Don't just watch the match, experience the glory. Head to Funner for every World Cup match to enjoy stadium-level energy and amazing specials at the best sports bar in SoCal.
Opening tonight's game for the Padres, left-hander Kyle Hart. The 33-year-old is 0-1 with a 4.13 ERA, 17 appearances out of the bullpen. This will be his first time as an opener this season. You look at the Dodger lineup, they'll face Ohtani, Pages, and Freeman to begin the game. Ohtani's never seen him. Pages has never seen him. Freddie Freeman is 1 for 2 against him. And again, 2 lefties there in the first 3. Then you got Betts, then you got Muncy, and Edman switch hitter after that. Hopefully all Hart has to worry about is Ohtani, Pages, and Freeman in the first inning. But will be interesting to see how Kyle Hart deals with the very top of the Dodger lineup. After that, Randy Vasquez scheduled to take the bulk innings. Vasquez 6-5, a 4.17 ERA in 15 starts this season. Randy lost to Texas on Friday. He gave up 7 runs in 3 innings and a third. It was a really tough outing for Vasquez. He's got a 6.91 ERA in his last 6 starts. Remember, he had a 2.68 ERA in his first 9 starts of the season. Also, he has been very susceptible to the home run ball lately. He's allowed 7 home runs in his last 6 starts. He allowed only 4 in his first 9 starts of the season. He lost his only start against the Dodgers this season on May 20th, gave up 3 runs in 4 innings and a third. He's got a 4.50 ERA in 3 career starts against LA. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Dodgers, the right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto, a 2.65 ERA in 14 starts this season. He has a 1.51 ERA in his last 6 outings. He lost to the Orioles on Saturday, gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Yamamoto making his second start against San Diego this year. He gave up 1 run in 7 innings his first start against the Padres this season. A career 5.13 ERA in 7 career starts against San Diego, including the postseason. Xander Bogaerts, 7 for 16 against him with a home run. Manny Machado, 4 hits against him in his career with 2 home runs. So a couple of guys with very good numbers against Yamamoto in this Padres lineup here tonight. When we come back, we send things out to Jesse and Tony. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.
When your home needs an upgrade, trust the experts. Genesis Home Improvements is a Better Business Bureau